Coming up on today's episode.
And Charlie Kirk, an unfortunate incident that has just happened today on the Melanin Movement podcast.
Welcome to the Melanin Movement, where family, culture, and conversation collide. We're not just a podcast, we're a family, literally, spanning from Gen Z to Gen X, coming together to have real, raw, and necessary conversations that impact the Black community. Expect real talk, unfiltered opinions, and perspectives from different generations because every voice matters. This isn't just a podcast, it's a movement. And guess what? You're part of the family too. So don't just watch, subscribe, drop a comment, and join the conversation. Hit that notification bell so you'll never miss an episode. This is the Melanin Movement. Let's get into it.
All right, so first, I think that we should talk about Charlie Kirk and what happened in Utah and how this world, well, this country for sure. I mean, the world is on fire too, but this country has lost its ever-loving mind. Charlie Kirk, who is an American nationalist, activist and pundit, and he was very instrumental. A big Trump supporter, and was very instrumental in garnering the youth vote for Trump. And he was at a college today in Utah, and he's from Utah, which Utah is mostly a Mormon state. Mormonism is all through Utah, and he's from Provo, and that definitely is Mormon territory. But he was at a college, and he was unfortunately gunned down. And the irony of it is that he was on video talking about the fact that people getting unalived is par for the course because it will protect the Second Amendment. And the Second Amendment came for him. Unfortunately, he's a husband and he's a father and a son. So we definitely send our well wishes and prayers and healing energy to the family of Charlie Kirk, because nobody deserves, I don't care who you are, nobody deserves this. And according to CNN, they have someone in custody that is a person of interest. So what say ye? Because I actually saw the video of him getting unalived. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. So what say ye?
For one, I pay my respects to the family and all of his loved ones that are going through this crazy time right now. Piggybacking off of what you said, Kai, and nobody deserves that, regardless of who you believe in, what you believe in. I do not feel that man should be the one that taketh the way of life. So it's just an unfortunate event. Even though, let me say this, even though I did agree some things that he said, that I've seen some videos of what the things that he said. Of course, I don't, disagree with everything. I'm not gonna agree with everything. I can't even, I don't even feel like it's right now, unfortunately, to really indulge into all of the other stuff right now. Unfortunately, it's just somebody was just, and I just think I can't be the one to just bring up my true thoughts of the person during this time. It's too soon, unfortunately.
So at the same time, there was a mass, well, no, it wasn't mass, but 3 students were wounded at Evergreen High School in Colorado today. So now you have Charlie Kirk, and you have now these students. A few weeks ago, it was the kids in the church. We are on record soon to have the most mass dumb shootings. And so at some point, you know, I get the Second Amendment. You have a right. But what is the common denominator in all of these? The gun. So until you do something to make the laws actually law, unfortunately, we have to pray over our kids every day. We have to pray over our family each day so these things don't continue to them to happen. I believe everyone, when everyone is born, what William Shakespeare said, as when you're born, you begin to die. And so we all know it's inevitable, but I believe you're supposed to live a full life. Dying is supposed to be after you've done everything, you're surrounded by your family, your children, and your great grands, and you know, that's how you're supposed to go. Not this.
And imagine like the sense of like, imagine how many others could have got really hurt or during this time. I'm sorry, unalived.
Oh
I
yeah.
feel for his family. It's unfortunate, especially for the kids, because social media and the internet is at a high where you can see any and everything that you don't want to see. So I guess for them, it's going to be a tragic to see their father being unalived all over the internet, and so I feel for them, and then also his wife and his family. So my real thoughts, that got to be behind closed door because my brain go left. So
A conspiracy?
my brain go left.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Um, I'm we can get into potential conspiracies. We can talk about who he is as a public figure, but I think this event or this situation speaks more to a societal ill, so to speak, right? That revolves around the idea that we're revolving into this state where it's not just a matter of expressing political views, but you have to be at a point, at least in terms of where we're going as a society, you have to be at a point where you're willing to die for your political views. Because of how cult-like we've become in our perception of whatever it is, whether that's for politics, whether that's for entertainment, you know what I mean? We saw people dying over chicken sandwiches about 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
our
Wow,
propensity
I
to be,
forgot about that.
bro, like people
We're
were being
inundated with
unalived
it, so you
over
just so
Popeye's chicken.
much. Mm-hmm.
This was the thing. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
that propensity to be so cult-like when it comes to I don't know. Just people get in this frenzy mentally when it comes to attaching themselves to something or someone. All right. And then when it becomes a matter of politics now that's exacerbated to a next level. I think we're heading towards maybe not this year, maybe not next year, perhaps even 5 or 10 years from now, we're heading towards some level of civil war type stuff where culturally we're going to be divided as a country, like hard left, hard right type stuff.
We're gonna be. We're already hard right, hard left.
No, but I mean, to some degree, we're still
But to like
left.
a physical standpoint, like
You know what I mean?
half the country would be left, half the country would be
Uh,
right, and that's it.
I think that's where we're going.
Unfortunately, I was I always talk about how I love period pieces and like stuff that's from like um antiquity time, or you know just in the 1600s, 1700s, 1800s. And during these times, you would see how barbaric and how just people would be unalived for just if you spoke ill of the king, or if you disrespected. And it would be like nothing. People would literally sit in a coliseum and watch people fight to the unalivement of themselves. You know what I'm saying? And they would cheer and they would rah rah, sis boom ba, for somebody literally losing their life. And I feel like, you know how they say there's nothing new under the sun? I feel like we're literally going backwards as a people, to where our lives don't mean anything. This country leads the entire globe with gun violence. And every time something happens, you want to blame the right, you want to blame the left, you want to blame mental illness, you want to blame the video games, you want to blame the music. But not once do you actually say the common denominator, as Shauna said, in this whole thing are guns. Maybe if you would get rid of the guns, then we wouldn't have these issues. Now, I
That's a
say
hard.
this, huh?
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but that's a hard thing to do. When you think about why it was there to begin with,
Australia did it.
but we're not Australia.
We
You got,
definitely
A lot of other countries.
A lot of other
but
countries did it.
but we're not them. You got to think about like how this country was founded. So
On
even
violence.
Yeah.
for sure,
But they don't
but
want to, that's not a part of the history that they're so proud of. The history that they're proud of is that our forefathers came here to fleeing from persecution, to have our religious freedoms, and then only to come here and try to take away other people's religious freedoms.
for sure we can agree on that, but we still got to understand why. I mean, we can also say laws are weird because there's gray areas in laws, but laws are there for a reason. So if you take away guns and in all aspects in a perfect world, then what happens when we have like martial law and then we actually cannot fight back? Then now we're like, oh, we need guns. So I just think we need to have higher. I personally feel like, especially when it comes to guns, you need a psychological evaluation,
I'm with that.
and that has to be routine every year. I don't need it to
I'm
be
with
every
that.
couple years. I need it to be every year, so we can see. Because at the end of the day, we could tell people brain scans can change within
Mm-hmm.
months.
Mm-hmm.
So if we see something has changed, boom, do the psychological exams to make sure that they're equipped to own a gun, and then we can go with, all that stuff. So that's my opinion. I don't say get rid of guns. We got to make it stricter to get a gun. Even though it's easier to get
I,
guns
I, I say
on the
I
black
say
market,
that as a lawful gun owner. I have a gun, and I have um a war weapon. I have an AR-15. Do I need an AR-15? No. However, if they got it, I want it. That's all I'm saying. So if there is a call to get rid of your guns, or get rid of automatic rifles, or rifles that you can shoot from 200 yards, which it said that that's what happened with Charlie Kirk.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you had a 9mm, which I had, or a Glock or something like that, and you can't do a mass shooting if you have that.
Right.
It's impossible, because you got to constantly reload.
Mm-hmm.
for
You know what I'm
sure,
saying?
for sure. But that's what I'm saying. That's why we need to have stricter psychological. And when I say guns, that means guns in all fields. So in the army, in the police, just law-abiding citizens that own guns. That's, I mean, and look, if we think about it, it's going to give more people more jobs because we keep talking about there's no jobs. So this is making work for people to, and this is going to be good work to prevent all this stuff. I'm not saying it's going to end the whole situation, but it can prevent a lot of this to happen. And
This country
and
has
once,
an unhealthy obsession with war and weapons.
but it's not
It
just, it's not
just
just,
it
it's
it,
it's
it
not this
is what it
country.
is. It is
But
this country because
it's
other
not.
countries don't have the same amount of violence that we have.
But it's not.
We're not third world country, but yet we have the highest rate.
But that you can't say that because at the end of the day, there's not one place on earth that has no type of crime or
No, that's not.
Nobody's
I
talking
That's
know,
about
but
not.
I'm
crime.
saying, it's more on the sense of it's a humanity, it's a human thing. As humans, is we either good or evil. The difference between us and other countries, we're just fortunate that we can have abundance of the actual stuff that can cause damage at our disposal. They can't do that. That might take them months.
We have that one amendment that could be changed.
But like I
Period.
said, it
If the
goes back
laws would
to
change,
martial.
people would have to abide by the law or
But
move to another
then
country.
what happens when martial law happens? And then you're like, yo, I don't got
That's
a
an
gun.
if. That's an if.
But
That's a what
that's a
if.
right, but there's more Americans physically here that owns gun. I'm not saying it can't take over an army, but let's be real. If you go down south, they all lock and loaded for situations like this. That's why they're not doing it because they know for a fact if they bring the armies there, there's going to be a fight. There's going to
But
be a fight.
but I believe
So,
if they get rid of the automatic weapons, that's what
but
I
you
think
can't,
the
but
main
it's
concern.
hard to control that.
The automatic
It's not
weapons.
the
Why
way
does
this
somebody
dude.
who live in Ohio, who's not in law enforcement, why do they need them in AR-15 with magazines?
The answer is that it states. If the thing about it is, and I hate when we say this because on a dollar it says "United We Stand," but each state have their own laws when it comes to guns. So at the end of
Exactly.
the day,
Exactly.
you can't get mad at why they have it. That's their laws.
But if
The
there is a
people there.
federal mandate,
But
if
that's
there's a
what you
federal
think
mandate
if they
that
get rid
is
of those.
and the Congress passes a law saying
You
that
will
each state will now have to dot 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 dot, then that's it. Then people can say, "Oh, you're not going to take our guns and try to bum rush the Capitol like they did for the election that wasn't stolen." But however, if a law changes, people have to abide by that law or get locked up. Period. Yeah.
I feel like we're having this conversation with the assumption that America has ethics,
Oh no.
We don't.
right? And even in the discussion of the decision that America as a country should make, again, that's through the lens of an ethical person, right? The country as itself has a rooted belief system in capitalism, right? If you have enough money, you rise above whatever laws or regulations are written, right? And we've seen that being exemplified over and over again by the 0.01%,
Mm-hmm.
right? So money really is the mover of the needle. It's not going to be any ethical or moral principle in terms of why people are dying and whatnot, right? So we can have that debate on another level in terms of what's going on sociologically. But politically speaking, whatever is going to put more money in the pockets of the country
That's what it all
or the
comes down
top
to.
1% or whomever, that's
That's
going to be what's
what
getting done ultimately. Right? I don't know how big the NRA is in terms of what they're bringing in
Huge.
fiscally.
Huge. They
I'm
are
pretty sure
one
that's a
of the
major
major donors for
contribution.
most of the politicians in office right now.
So I don't know how much that contributes to the GDP, but you know what I mean? So it really all depends on what's happening.
This country has more guns than people. Just think about that.
And you gotta think about it. The difference is those are guns that are registered, and then there's more guns that are not registered that are bought in on
Exactly.
top of that.
That you
It's
can
like,
get from the Colombians or
but
the
not even just Colombian. Military people
Venezuelans.
are bringing guns in themselves. Like they, after they finish, they do their tour, they bringing guns back. So it's just like you can't control it. It's
Well,
like,
I'm a person of peace. Black social media has chimed in on Charlie Kirk and the situation, and
it's a different level of the empathy. I'll say that.
yes, black social media has a different level of empathy. But either way, I think we can all agree that he should not have been have he should not have had his life taken like that. And we do send our thoughts and prayers to his family.
I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year, so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. That is a prudent deal. It is rational. Nobody talks like this. They live in a complete alternate universe.